Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're talking about a huge fundamental shift that's happening in B2B marketing, like right now. We're moving away from the world of slick, corporate ads and into a new space where trust and real people, that's the real currency. So let's get into it. Let's unpack what's driving this and what it actually means for you.
So let's just start with the question that I know is on a lot of marketers' minds. You're spending the money, you're crafting what you think is the perfect message, but it's just not landing, right? It feels like you're shouting into the void. Well, the reason is simple. The game has completely changed.
And the data here it's just staggering. A huge 82% of B2B buyers, think about that. That's more than 4 out of every 5 people, say content from creators is directly influencing how they decide to spend their money. This isn't some tiny trend. This is now central to how big business deals get done. Okay, so where is all this happening? It probably won't surprise you that the data points to one main hub. Nearly 60% of B2B buyers are going to LinkedIn. That's their #1 spot for this creator content. It makes sense, right? It's the digital town square for professionals. And it's not just any kind of content. The format really matters. 63% of buyers say it's video that's actually swaying their decisions. That authentic, kind of raw video that we see everywhere else, it's now reshaping B2B because, well, it's just a whole lot harder to fake. So, all these numbers really point to one single core issue, which brings us to our first section here. The old way of doing marketing has a massive trust problem. We're going to dig into the why behind this big shift away from that traditional corporate voice.
And here's the thing you have to understand. Brand awareness is still important. For sure, it'll get you on the list. But for those big, complex, high-stakes B2B deals, awareness isn't going to cut it. You need confidence. You need real trust. And you just can't get those feelings from a banner ad. Buyers need to hear from a human.
And this quote from Emma Harmon just hits the nail on the head. She calls it an emotional vacuum. So much corporate messaging is just about features, benefits, you know the drill. But creators fill that vacuum. They bring a human voice, that real connection that actually makes an idea stick in a buyer's mind.
So, if the big problem is a lack of human connection, well, the solution is pretty obvious. It's humans. And that brings us to our second section, all about this powerful new voice that's emerged to fill that void, the B2B creator.
Now let's be super clear who we're talking about here. This is not about celebrities pushing a product. B2B creators are the real deal. They're industry experts, they're analysts, they can even be your own customers and employees. Their power comes from genuine, on-the-ground expertise, not a giant follower account. They're all about building communities around real insights.
Now, what's really wild is how deep this goes. Look at this. This isn't just a top-of-funnel thing to get your name out there. Buyers are using creator content for the whole journey, to check out solutions, to justify the purchase to their boss, and even to figure out what to do after they've signed the contract. It's full funnel influence.
Okay, so we know who these creators are. We know why they're so effective, but where does all this actually happen? Let's zoom right in on the platform that has become the absolute epicenter for all things B2B influence, LinkedIn.
The numbers really speak for themselves here. When B2B buyers want to find creator content, they are heading straight to LinkedIn more than anywhere else. You can see it right there. It's the clear leader of the pack when it comes to just pure consumption. But this slide right here, this is the one that really matters. It's not just about who's popular, it's about who you trust. And on that front, it is not even a competition. LinkedIn is seen as way more trustworthy for professional stuff than any other platform. And that trust, that's the bedrock this whole creator economy is built on. And the ecosystem of who these creators are, it's incredibly diverse. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing at all. The data shows that, industry experts often lead the charge, but analysts, business leaders, even your own customers and employees, they are all seen as powerful, credible voices that buyers are actively seeking out. And here's a fantastic, real-world example of that in action. Evonik doesn't just call them employees, they call them content catalysts. I love that. They're building a grassroots movement from the inside out, empowering the experts they already have to become these trusted voices in the industry.
All right, so this is where the rubber meets the road. We've talked about the what and the why, so now let's get into the how. In this section, we're going to lay out a clear, actionable game plan so you can start building your own creator strategy.
So here it is, a simple 5-step playbook. You start with what you're actually trying to achieve, your marketing goals. Then you figure out what communities you need to be a part of.
From there, you look inside at your own experts and outside to other creators. And then you wrap it all up with a solid plan to get the word out and measure if it's actually working.
And you might be asking, does this stuff actually work? Oh yeah, absolutely. Just look at Lenovo. They activated their own people, used a cool tool called Thought Leader Ads, which lets a company boost content right from an expert's profile, and boom. The result? Engagement 6 times higher than their normal benchmarks. Those are real, powerful results.
Okay, let's get to the final and maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle. Because for any business, at the end of the day, it's all about results. So how do you actually measure the impact and prove the ROI of a creator-led strategy?
Well, here's a hard number for you. When a brand uses a tool like Thought Leader Ads to boost content from a person, a trusted creator, the click-through rate is 252% higher than a normal ad. That's not just a little better, that is a totally different league of performance. It's definitive proof that amplifying real, human voices just works.
I absolutely love this quote from Brendan Gahan because it just perfectly captures this moment in time. This isn't a saturated market. Not yet. This is the very beginning. It's like getting into video on YouTube back in 2010. The opportunity to get in now, while it's still early, is just massive.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. The data couldn't be clearer. Your audience trusts people, not logos. So the real question you need to be asking yourself isn't if you should work with creators, but who. Who are the right people, the right trusted voices to help tell your story? Who will you trust?